Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It is my hope and prayer that this video is going to find you guys in good health. Personally, I'm doing fine. The weather in Kisumu is also fantastic. Maybe you could also let me know where you are watching the video from. The county or the country in case you are outside the country. I have always opined on this platform that in politics, nothing happens out of mere coincidence. And that everything in politics is normally well planned, well scripted, and executed to achieve a specific political objective. David Murathe was on NTV today. And David Murathe was very clear that in case they lose the elections, they will accept the results. I want us to look at that David Murathe statement. Because if you ask me, that statement was intended to achieve certain political objectives. David Murathe is not your ordinary politician. For those who've been following the politics of this country, there is nothing which David Murathe has always stated which never came to pass. David Murathe alluded to the fact that we were going to have a ruthless president after the election. In fact, he said that just before the last general election. And we saw President Uhuru Kenyatta becoming ruthless towards his deputy. David Murathe was also the guy who indicated that that President Uhuru Kenyatta was going to support Raila Odinga. Again, it is the same David Murathe who talked of Mandela's moment.
We think it is time Kenyans rewarded the long years of the struggle of Raila Odinga. They owe it to him. It's like Mandela. It's a Mandela moment. And we'd also like to tell him to be a transitional president who will then nurture young generation to take over in 2027. I personally, and this is not going to be misconstrued, I will vote for Raila Odinga to be the next president of the Republic of Kenya. Unless, of course, he decides not to run and he proposes somebody else. Unless, of course, him and the president have agreed. You know, nobody knows what they agreed inside that office of the handshake. Unless they've agreed not to run and back somebody like Matiang'i or Kalonzo, all right? For now, if he's running and we are going to go down to Mount Kenya, it is Raila Odinga.
So his statement is normally, for me, significant politically speaking. I want you to listen to David Murathe very briefly before we proceed, explaining why they will accept, explaining that they will accept the results.
I don't know that it is a condition for peace for Raila to win.
Yeah.
Raila has felt disenfranchised over time, all right? And we were on the other side, and in some instances, like the 2017, we actually believe it was clear. They even know the numbers, 54 to 44. They know them. You know, everybody has their tallying centers and everything. And it is not a must for Raila to win, for this country to have peace. On the contrary, it is people who are threatening others that you have to vote in a certain way for peace to obtain in places like the Rift Valley. And unfortunately for them, like I was there recently, our people are like, no, we will vote the way we want to vote.
Right.
I can guarantee, because I'm in Azimio, now I can talk on behalf of Azimio. If we should lose this election, we will not go shouting that it was rigged. We will not even, unless, of course, there are glaring issues of manipulation by the IEBC. But our infrastructure is such that at every stage. Remember, this election happens at the polling station.
Right.
So it is your capacity to have the proper agents who monitor everything. And remember, they also transmit to your own tallying center, let alone the IBC one. And so if what we are getting from our agents does not tally with what the IBC is pronouncing, now that is an issue.
Okay.
But if what they are announcing tallies with what our tallying center from our agents confirms, Raila will be gracious to concede defeat. Remember, Uhuru Kenyatta is the only person who has gone on record as conceding defeat.
Okay.
When he lost in 2002
All right.
to the NAC formation of Raila Odinga and Mwai Kibaki. You remember?
All right.
Uhuru is now on this same side where that is our culture of conceding defeat.
So who is David Murathe? David Murathe is a very close ally of President Uhuru Kenyatta. I personally believe that Uhuru Kenyatta normally communicates through David Murathe. Just like if you want to get the mind of the DP, pay very close attention to Oscar Sudi. For Raila Odinga, whatever Junet Mohammed is saying is the mind of Raila Amolo Odinga. So David Murathe has been saying a lot of things.
The reason I'm saying this, we were looking for who should not be president. Then we decide who can be president.
Okay, so you are saying that William Ruto, the deputy president, is not yet ready for that position?
He's not ready to be president because, as far as we are concerned, Raila Amolo Odinga, at almost 50-50 with Uhuru Kenyatta. Remember in 2013, we scraped through the 50+1 with like 80,000 votes. All right? Meaning, and Raila never got Mount Kenya votes. Meaning this time around, worst case scenario, Raila gets Mount Kenya votes, whether 10, 20, 30, 40%. That is votes he never had anyway. But the rest of his vote basket is intact.
To you, the Azimio has
irrelevant. In fact, for Mount Kenya, and this is a message to Mount Kenya, Raila is winning this election. They better decide whether he's winning it with them on board or he's winning it without them on board. Well, because if Raila wins it without them on board, they know they will be consigned to the dustbin. And probably this is the strategy of the deputy president, because his job is basically to isolate and alienate Mount Kenya from the rest of the country.
But why would David Murathe talk of accepting the results? In this video, I want us to look at that statement. And in case you're watching this channel for the first time, please click that subscribe button now. What we do on this channel is that we analyze politics in a way you can't find any other place. So the best thing you can do always is just to click that subscribe button. And to the subscribers, I want to continue. Thank you guys for your continued support. Without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. So please, for this particular video, give it, just click the thumbs up now. You can share it and you can also drop your comments. Let me now begin this video by looking at the post scenarios. At the end of the day, we are going to have almost 3 or 4 scenarios. The first scenario is where elections are going to be held. Either Raila Odinga or William Ruto are going to win. And after winning, both of them are going to accept the results. The second scenario is where elections are held, but either Raila or Ruto will dispute the results because of glaring irregularities in the outcome. So they will reject either of them. And also we are going to have a situation where someone will go into this election with one mind that I must win. So if they won't win, whichever the outcome, they will reject the results. So those are the 3 scenarios we are likely to face. I've studied the body language of President Uhuru Kenyatta. I've studied the body language of Raila Odinga. They are too confident that they are going to win this election in the first round. Again, if you study William Ruto and his brigades, although they have the fear of the deep state, they are also confident of winning this particular election. The opinion polls are showing that Raila Odinga is ahead. But let us not get into all those. Let us focus on David Murathe's statement. What is your thought on that statement by David Murathe? For me, I picked the following. Number one, I think David Murathe is trying to answer questions about Raila Odinga accepting results. For those who've been listening and paying close attention to William Ruto, there was a time he was piling a lot of pressure on Raila Odinga to accept the results. That ukishindwa, wewe accept results. I'm yet to get Raila Odinga committing to that. The only time I remember Raila Odinga commented on that and affirmed that in case he's going to lose the elections, he's going to accept results, but with the rider that in case they are going to be free and fair, was when he was at Chatham House. So what Murathe is doing, in my view, is just trying to respond on behalf of Raila Odinga about the questions of accepting results. Or let me say it this way, is talking on behalf of Uhuru Kenyatta. That if elections are going to be held and Raila wins, the better for them. If Ruto is going to win, again, they are said going to accept the results. So basically, that's the message I'm getting from what David Murathe is trying to say. Number two, I also tend to think that it could be reverse psychology. Reverse psychology means something very simple, that there is a chance that Raila is going to win, but Ruto going to reject results. So what you do is that you commit to accept those results. So the other team will also commit to accept the results. So that once they also commit to accept the results, because David Murathe is being accused of being a member of the deep state. So by committing to accept results and the other team also committing to accept results, it means if Raila Odinga will win, their expectation would be that William Ruto is not going to give them a problem. Is going to easily accept those results. So that number three, I'm also trying to figure out that David Murathe is telling Kenyans that the deep state, of which he's a member of, is going to do everything possible to ensure that the outcome of the 2022 general election is going to be free and fair. And that Uhuru Kenyatta, as the president or as the head of state, is busy setting up structures to ensure that the elections are going to be free and fair. Just briefly listen to him. So the thing is, by accepting that they're going to accept results, it's just trying to assure Kenyans that President Uhuru Kenyatta and his government are working day and night to ensure that the 2022 general election is going to be free, fair, verifiable, and transparent. And he was asked a simple question. What about public officers supporting the government? He was very clear that those public officers are not, that it's only the cabinet secretaries. But Karanja Kibichu is not a cabinet secretary. The provincial administration are not permanent secretaries. But the thing is talking of elaborate strategy by the president to ensure that the outcome of the elections will be acceptable to all. And lastly, I think it's trying to diffuse this notion that the deep state is planning to rig Raila Odinga. How do you convince Kenyans that the deep state is not going to rig in Raila Odinga or is not going to work in favor of Raila Odinga? Tell them that in case Raila Odinga is going to lose the elections, he's going to accept the results. And everybody is going to go home happy. I don't know what you think. That's my take. Thank you guys, and please may you have a good day.